Are they going to do it? Are they going to achieve something that's never been achieved before? Are Red Bull going to win every race this season? We pretty much know that Max is going to win the Drivers' Championship, Red Bull are going to win the Constructors' Championship, and there's a very high chance that Perez is going to finish second in the Drivers' Championship. So the only question left is, are Red Bull going to win every race this year? There's one record that's never been achieved before. So is this the season that's going to go down in history as that season? We'll discuss, we'll see. By the end of this video, I'll let you know what I think. So there's been 3 really dominant seasons since the year 2000, and it's trying to work out where Red Bull's going to end up in this top 3. We pretty much know that they are going to end up in the top 3, and we pretty much know there's a high chance that Red Bull will more than likely win a lot more races in the second half of the season. Judging by what they've done in the first half of the season, I'm sure we can both agree on that they will win a lot more races this year. So also we had the 2022 season where we had Michael Schumacher, Rubens Barrichello as teammates, and there were 17 races that season, and between the two of them, they won 15 of the 17 races, and that's a win record of 88.2%. After that, we had the 2016 season where only 2 teams won races that year. We had Mercedes, which had Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, both winning races and actually both going for the title, which actually made that season quite entertaining. Normally when we have dominant seasons, we have one driver winning all the time, like we are doing this year. But back then, 2016, fortunately, we had the 2 teammates going head-to-head for the title, which made it more interesting and more exciting, especially for the casual fan like us. The title went down to the last race, and Nico Rosberg won the title in the last race. So that was an entertaining season, even though we had a dominant team. They ended up winning 19 of the 21 races. So that was a win record of 90.5%. And funnily enough, the other team to win races that year was Red Bull. We had Max Verstappen winning his first ever race in his career, and we also had Danny Ricciardo racing for Red Bull, winning the race later on in the year. One of the reasons why Red Bull won the race that year was because of the 2 Mercedes drivers having contact on the first lap and causing some drama and bringing some excitement to the season. And that's the problem that we're having with this year. The problem that we're having with this season is just having a dominant car isn't as bad when there's 2 drivers going for the title within the team. But that 2016 season got so toxic between the drivers. Rosberg was obviously getting into Hamilton's head. And people say now to Perez, people are like advising Perez to study that season. That's how a driver that's not as talented as his teammate wins. You have to go beneath the surface, push the boundaries of what's acceptable to get the competitive edge. And that's what Rosberg did that year. He got into Lewis Hamilton's head and it affected his drive in that way. And he managed to win the title in the end. Obviously, he got lucky with Hamilton having some DNFs and reliability issues. But, you know, at the end of the day, he is the 2016 world champion. And like my dad used to say to me, the person who deserves to be a world champion is the one with the most points at the end of the season. No matter how many times I said to my dad that Alonso deserved 2010, deserved 2012, and deserves more title, he always said to me, the person that deserves to be the world champion is the person with the most points at the end of the season. So I'm just going to have to go with that. And Rosberg deserved to be world champion in 2016 because he had the most points at the end of the season. And then obviously the most dominant season came in 1988. And that was when McLaren won 15 of the 16 races. And I'll let you try and guess which other team won the race that year. I'll give you a clue. They did it on home soil and the crowd went crazy. So just try and think of a team that has the craziest crowd going. But yeah, the McLaren team had the late great Ayrton Senna, and they had the awesome great Alan Prost, who doesn't get as much press and coverage as he should do. They're both great drivers and they're both going for the title. And they're pretty similar to how, in my head, they're pretty similar to how Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton went for the title. We had Lewis Hamilton, who was outright the fastest out the 2. And then you had Ayrton Senna, who was outright fastest out of the 2. Whereas you had Rosberg, who was kind of like more, I don't know, reliable and more of a thinker. And Prost was definitely a thinker and used his brain more. And yeah, like I said, they won 15 of the 16 races. So that's a win record of 93.8%. And the team to win the other race was Ferrari on home soil in front of the Tifosi. So can Red Bull make the top 3? Can they beat the 2002 season, 2016 season, and then the almighty great the 1988 season. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because in Formula One, even though Max Verstappen is making it look easy, Formula One's quite hard and difficult to win a race. So Max is making it look very, very easy at the moment. There's so many things that can go wrong, and there's so many things that you need to get right and be on the ball with. There's so many components in the car that can fail. There's so many variables within like the qualifying hour, the pit stops, the start. There's so many things that can go wrong. When I did my video before the Canadian Grand Prix, that was when Perez wasn't doing well. And what I said there was that I didn't think Red Bull win every race. And my thinking was that something would go wrong for Max and then another team would win the race. But going forward now, Perez is starting to pick up his game, and he's pretty much going to be running second. So even with Max Verstappen as an issue, we have to remember that Perez needs to be performing poorly and or have an issue himself. So that's going to make it doubly hard for someone else to win a race going forward. Another thing I factored in that video was that I thought that teams would be catching up with Red Bull, and because they even admitted themselves that they're focusing on next year really early, so they're taking the ball off just upgrading this car this season, whilst the other teams will still be upgrading, trying to catch up. So I thought the other teams would be catching up with them. But and as we saw in Belgium, how easily Max Verstappen won the race from 5th on the grid, and how easily he pulled away from his teammate Perez, and how easily he was cruising, and he was still like 30 seconds ahead of everyone else. I don't think they'll get caught. I don't think teams will catch up with them. I honestly don't think anyone will catch up with Red Bull this season. But will they win every race? I'm just going to have to go with my initial assessment, my initial gut feeling, and that is no. There's just so many things that can go wrong that I just think there's going to be a race where it's either the weather, a badly timed pit stop, Perez is off the ball, I don't know, a component failure. Like, no one's going to beat them head to head. Red Bull going to lose the race themselves, or, you know, they're just down to bad luck. But I don't think they're going to win every race this season. As much as awesome as it would be to be witnessing the most ultimate performance by a team, and Adrian Newey, who designed this Red Bull car, and the team behind him definitely deserve like all the accolades they're going to get. But I still feel that Red Bull are not going to win every race this year. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you're curious to see what I said in the original video, then click here to watch it. Thank you for watching and enjoy the next race.